boom, 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 after. Look at that. New digs, baby. We are leveling up. And Team Rival are leveling up. Team Rival last year looked so damn good. And now I think they're going to look even better. And this is kind of a wild take. All these teams in general, I think, are a little bit scary. Listen, there's only 8 teams in the Pro League. I think we had 12 at one point. 10, maybe we never had 12, but we have 8 teams now. And not only do we have 8 teams, but we have some of the best players in the world opting out of the league. And that's a whole different song and dance, but they're going to the minor league for an easier time, and that's all well and good. But my point being is that the amount of players available in the pool is small, and so all of the teams are going to be very, very good. That said, I think that Team Rival will be one of the better teams. Now, when we get down to it, at the end of all 8, I'll kind of rank them, and I'm destined to be wrong because that'll be insane. But on the individual take, I can kind of sit here confidently and say, expect big things. I think that this Rival team is going to be out of control, and I start with... I'll leave CaptainTwig for last. So right off the top, PandaCat, PBM, CaptainTwig, Sanford Soccer, FineOkay, and Slaney's coaching. A lot of these guys are returning from last year's Team Rival, but that's neither here nor there. PandaCat and PolarBearMike are a unit at this point. I look at these guys. PandaCat has played multiple positions. He's back in the hunter role, playing carry here for Team Rival. And I couldn't be happier. I thought he excelled as a mid player. I think he'll excel as a carry player, just like he used to. I especially if we don't see hunters. Right now, Titan Forge is really pushing for hunters to be played. We see crit buffs and all sorts of crazy things happening to allow hunters to be played, but high-end players are still saying maybe not hunters. But who gives a shit? If he's got to play Ho Yi or... I was going to go Ho Yi to Horus, but I don't expect to see a Horus carry anytime soon. But anyway, if I got to see a Ho Yi or I expected to have another one here by now. If we got to see Ho Yi to Hun Bats, I'm just going to go with it. It would be fine. I have so much faith in PandaCat. I think he's proven himself as a carry. He's proven himself as a mid laner. And more than that, he's proven himself as a smite player. I think he absolutely understands what it takes to be a winner, and at the same time keeps this attitude. And I'm going to come back to that because I think PandaCat's attitude is so very important. In fact, a lot of the attitudes on Team Rival are so important. You never have a perfect puzzle piece with a team. There's always a jagged edge here or there, but the way these guys interlock is really, really clean. So PandaCat, I can't speak more highly about what he has done. I think he proved himself to be one of the better mid laners last year, and I think he proved himself to be one of the better carries when he was playing over there. So, awesome. PolarBearMike as well. What is there to say that hasn't been said? PBM is the man with the plan. Goddamn. I mean, he is one of the best leaders in the league. One of the best leaders I know personally outside of the league even. He has impressed me every single year. And, one day I'm going to get a bunch of footage and do the long career span of PolarBearMike because I remember pointing to that eager squad. One day I'll get PolarBearMike up here on the mic. But I remember telling him on that eager squad, I remember telling him, you are going to be one of the great leaders in Smite. Not just one of the best players, but one of the best leaders in Smite. He probably believed me because Mike has always been a confident individual. But here we are, and it's absolutely true. Not only is he one of the better leaders, but he understands what it takes to win. I guess that's sort of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Anyway, my point being is that we saw his run last year. Rival was second best, right? Rival was finals. I mean, and he took what he did last year and refined it, I think. Refino. I don't know, whatever. Listen, I'll be here all week, okay? In fact, I'll be here every single day, streaming daily at twitch.tv/fswag. Sanford Soccer in the Jungle. Sanford Soccer in the Jungle is my least favorite pick on this team, And I mean that in the most loving way possible. Sam for Soccer is a mamma jammin' MVP, the motherfucking guy on the pie. Like, this is the world's most valuable player. I voted for Kodos. But, I mean, where do you go from there, right? He leaves the team SK, now PK. Check out the video. And now is playing with his rival team, right? And I think this is a really clean fit for Sam for Soccer, because he's just one of the better junglers that is going to be able to interact with the rest of the squad. I think he is the more focused version of CaptainTwig. Now, Sam for Soccer got noticed, or I guess Sam for Soccer's claim to fame is the level 2 gank, and that's annoying. But Sammy also has a lot of different play styles. I think that CaptainTwig, the mid laner for this team, by the way, is wider, right? CaptainTwig will play the craziest shit. I will forever roast the Frostbound Mercury and the tank Mercury. Frostbound Mercury, whatever. No, I'll still roast it. I will forever roast some of the... I think CaptainTwig was selfless to a fault in the jungle. But I think Sam for Soccer is selfless and utilitarian in that aspect, but taller in some regards, than gives up some width for height. What I mean by that is CaptainTwig could probably approach the jungle in more different ways than Sam for Soccer could. Sam for Soccer trades a couple of those strategies to get better at the strategies that he does employ, and just as a comparison. And so I think that Sam for Soccer still has the mentality of, I want to help my team. I'm here to either facilitate or carry. It depends on what they need. But I think that he's a little bit more attuned to what he accomplishes the goal better, even if he doesn't have as many approaches. And so I'm a bigger fan of this. That said, like I said, I mean, Sam for Soccer is my fifth pick, my fifth favorite person on this team, and I mean that in kind of a tongue-in-cheek way, because I think that he's phenomenal. FineOkay, again, what more? Look at last year's video. I nutted over FineOkay's performance in the Smite Pro League. Check out the broadcast videos with me commentating him. There are some times in your career as a commentator where you get accused of being biased, not bias, just saying. And there are times in your career where you get accused of, everybody loves the term dick riding, right? And there's a difference between being an outright fan and like being blind to the truth and the facts, and there's also a difference between being like a informed rooter of the player. I don't know how to say this. I always speak highly about FineOkay because he is largely always easy to speak highly of. Final's performance in the jungle, Final's performance in the solo lane has always impressed me. You want to talk about wide approaches to the game, he can play almost anything you want. He will play it at a high level of play as well. I mean, it might be too soon to compare him to Yaman. I think that, I think that FineOkay probably hasn't reached that level of prowess. I think that there are still solo laners, and that's because solo lane is one of the toughest positions right now. But I mean, I think you looked at Yaman I kind of looked at Yaman as just the numero uno mid laner. I think there's a bigger conversation with that respect to solo lane. But I think that FineOkay is one of the most consistent goddamn performers you could ask for. And frankly, if there is a negative on Sam's player card, consistency is probably it. And so if you're going to have one of the more inconsistent performers around, it makes sense to have one of the most consistent performers around, that being Fino. So again, this team complements each other. I'm going to tie a big bow on it after I talk about Captain motherfucking Twig. Once upon a time, Zeros played jungle and CaptainTwig played middle lane. CaptainTwig was the best duel player on the planet. Number one, 1v1, don't touch me, sir. Now, a lot of time has passed since then, and I spent a lot of time on the videos and on the stream talking about how talent has changed, and talent overall has gotten better in Smite. But CaptainTwig still remains, maybe Hatmaster out there or Sexy Rexy. I actually don't know anything about the duel scene. I apologize if I'm being disrespectful. Maybe some of these other guys are better than CaptainTwig or higher ranked than CaptainTwig, But CaptainTwig is the OG duel guy and is always beating you. Rip Jiffy. And so that was his approach to the middle lane. His approach to the middle lane was nail the 1v1 the way a solo laner would, but as we all know, CaptainTwig's ability to read the map and see the game from a bird's eye view is fantastic. And so CaptainTwig was able to go into the middle lane and play these hard carry 1v1s and win them, but also do the dance around the mid harpies. Back in the day, that was the strategy, very comparable to the 3v3 that we see, right? That if you haven't been around for that old school meta, that's kind of what you think about, right? The way that we look at the 3v3 in the mid lane, CaptainTwig has already earned those stripes. They're already there, got the merit badge, and then traded unis. This guy switched positions and is switching back to his original position. Now, I think that there will be rust, but that's what the offseason's for, theoretically. When he comes in, I don't expect him to look like God's gift to the middle lane. But maybe by like game 3. I really think CaptainTwig has what it takes to step into the middle lane and just return to former glory. The old SK Gaming team, minus Badger, was one of my favorite. I love Badger, but he got picked in the Geb rollout the same spot every time. Anyway, that old SK Gaming team with CaptainTwig in mid lane is one of my favorite teams that has ever played Smite. Fun fact, CaptainTwig played mid, Zeros played jungle, Zeros played shit like Vulcan jungle and Janus jungle, and eventually they just put Zeros mid and said, if you want to play these characters, just play the middle lane. CaptainTwig can learn anything, and so he learned the jungle. That's why Zeros is a mid laner, and CaptainTwig is a jungler. Well, I guess Zeros is a commentator, and CaptainTwig is... Womp, 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 womp. Anyway, CaptainTwig, mid lane. I think some lesser informed people might have question marks. I do not. I acknowledge the game is different. I acknowledge the level of play is higher. I acknowledge there are different players and different play styles. I still think CaptainTwig is going to return to the middle lane with a vengeance. And I couldn't be more excited. This will be fun to watch. Mark my words. Slaney, coaching, only good things to say about Slaney. PolarBearMike certainly lessens Slaney's load. PolarBearMike does a whole lot of work. A lot of the guys on this team, Fino's going to do a lot of homework as well. Everybody on this team kind of buys it and does the homework. Slaney will continue to be a strong facilitator and help this team improve their strategy. Slaney is one of the coaches that's really good at being the outside eye. Now, let me tell you one thing about coaching. It's nobody knows what the fuck they do outside of those Discords or the Mumble, TeamSpeak, Dolby. Nobody knows what goes on. There are some coaches that do everything, and there are some coaches that fill in forms, and those last coaches, those are old. Those are seasons ago. Now, in order to be a coach, you really got to do something. And Slaney, I think, is part of this process. Some coaches are better at making everybody love each other, which you laugh, but shout out to Captain Coach. Some people and teams need that. Look what happened to Pittsburgh Knights. Right? No disrespect to Roe. Roe's a great guy when it comes to the strategy and the overall team element of it and trying to figure out new approaches to the game. Slaney, from what I've gathered, and I might be wrong, but from what I've gathered about Slaney is excellent at looking at the game objectively and saying to his players, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, and having them buy into a system that allows them to improve. Now, like I said, it's always, as a teacher, you are your students, and so you are, as a coach, you are your players. FineOkay, PolarBearMike, PandaCat, like these guys are mature winners. They, look at their resume speaks for themselves, so they're going to be more in that mindset anyway. But Slaney, I think, excels at kind of finding these moments and allowing these guys to improve. I really think that's where Slaney kind of makes his bread, if you will. And Slaney, feel free to, or Rival, feel free to tell me that I am incorrect. And Slaney's actually the numbers wizard and the spreadsheet guru. But I've always seen different coaches coming out of the coach booth is very funny. Slaney always has a zillion notes, and I think his attention to detail brings his team together, which is important. This team is going to be about those details, and it should be fun to watch. I think that, again, all of these players interact or interconnect. PandaCat is a little less serious and more about the fun, lighthearted side of the team. PolarBearMike, as troll as he is, usually in the professional atmosphere, is the other side. He's never he's not the screamer guy like Pain to Beyond was, but he absolutely is, the guy that does the business. When you're in school and there's a group project and there's the cool guy that also makes everybody work, that's PolarBearMike. And him and PandaCat, that's why they are perfect sides to the same coin. CaptainTwig is the blue collar smite player. And I love that about him. He will do whatever the fuck the team needs him to do. Switch roles, play Tank Mercury, sometimes to a fault. But I think that CaptainTwig being everything that this team needs, when I say sometimes to a fault, it's not a fault to himself. It's a fault to the teams that ask him to go in odd directions. And he is just down to buy in because 5 players doing the wrong thing is better than 4 players doing it and 1 player fucking off and doing the right thing, right? And so CaptainTwig just understands that. He will always buy in, and I absolutely love that for him. I think that he brings a level of creativity that works out with FineOkay, and FineOkay winds up being the perfect right there in the middle. He's able to goof off with PandaCat. He's able to get serious with PolarBearMike. He's a good lead by example. PolarBearMike is kind of the reluctant group leader. He's I don't want to say reluctant leader, but he leads the group and he's just all right, man, I guess we got to do this. FineOkay is the cool guy that signals to everybody it's cool to buy in and to be serious. Everything about this team works, and I'm excited to watch it work. Team Rival, PandaCat, PBM, CaptainTwig, Sanford Soccer, FineOkay, and Slaney. Thank you so much for watching. Slap that like button. I've watched AV504 all day. And subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Twitch. Follow everything. Let me know in the comments what I'm wrong about, what the next video should be about, and also what I should put in this box, because I don't know what to put in the box. I definitely shouldn't have said that.